Let's do a lightning round. We're on the eve of the election, at least Washington week, a few days before the election. Yamiche, what will you be watching on election night?
Since we're coming to a close, the first thing I just want to say is I'm so excited to be on this panel, especially with you and Kristen. So I will be watching all of you covering this race because I feel like all of you have just, I think, really approached this with such grace and such smartness. That being said, I'm going to be watching this because I feel like it's a race about how people are feeling, about the empathy that people are feeling, because this is a race that is really life and death. When I was talking to voters, it's not about policies and about the different political platforms. It's about whether or not people feel like whoever they're supporting will help them survive and thrive in this. That's something that's different from past elections that I've seen. So I'm going to really be watching how people emotionally react to all of that that's going on, and how people tell people about how they voted and how they made up their decisions based on their hearts and minds rather than on policy.
Kristen, you will be part of NBC's special coverage on election night starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. What will you be watching?
Well, Bob and I return the compliment to Yamiche and all of you. Looking forward to seeing all of your coverage. I'm going to be watching to see what the Latino turnout will be. There has been so much focus in these closing days on trying to drive up the Latino vote. We just saw Vice President Biden announce that if in fact he is elected, he's going to form a task force on day one to try to reunite those children, some 500 children who were separated from their parents under President Trump's zero tolerance policy. It's a policy that has been reversed, but there are still those hundreds of children that haven't been reunited with their families. Was it too late to announce that type of initiative, or will it have an impact? The Latino vote is going to be so critical in a number of these states, particularly in the Sun Belt, Florida, also states like Arizona. So that could make a big difference in terms of who winds up pulling out a win in these critical states.
Dan Balz, what will you be watching?
Well, Bob, in addition to watching the main battlegrounds like everybody in this panel tonight and everybody around the country, I'm going to be watching Texas. Texas is a fascinating story this year. We don't know how it's going to come out. I think at this point you have to say President Trump would still be the favorite. But there has been an amazing amount of early voting in that state. Texas passed 9 million early votes yesterday, continuing to add to it. They have already had more people vote early than who voted in all of the 2016 election. Every major urban county, with only a couple of exceptions, has already surpassed its 2016 total vote. And the ones that haven't will be there certainly within a day or two or three. So what is going on in Texas is the transformation that we're seeing across other places in the Sun Belt, Arizona and Georgia being part of it. There's demographic change, there's economic growth, there's influx of new people, there is the changing suburban vote that we're seeing in other places around the country that's also affecting Texas. So this has turned a state that Donald Trump won by 9 points 4 years ago, and that other Republicans have won by double digits for many, many years, now being a competitive state. And if you talk to people on both sides, as I've done today, they each believe that they can win.
And what I'll be watching as a reporter is what President Trump says. Does he declare victory or not, as many states still wait for the count of their vote? How does he handle this crossroads for him politically, personally, someone who cares so much about his brand? It's something to watch on election night at a critical moment for democracy.